This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. I want to talk to you today, my friends, about how to stay grounded, and especially how to stay grounded as a leader, whether it's for your family, for your friends, where you work, your business, where you go to church, all of those areas. We need people who are grounded. You have to stay cool when the things in life start to heat up. Several podcasts ago, I talked about VUCA, the VUCA, which really comes from a military acronym at the end of the Cold War that really stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And there's probably no term that better describes the day that you and I are living in. It is very volatile. Things happen quickly. Things seem to get out of control rather rapidly. It's uncertain. We just don't know how things are going to work out. That's not only globally and nationally, but that's even in our own areas of expertise. Life really or seemingly is much more complex. And there's just a lot of ambiguity. How are things going to work out? So how, when everyone else is running around and screaming and crying out and getting angry and getting very anxious, how do you pull all of that off? How do you stay grounded? It is important, it is absolutely essential that you, as the leader of anything, whether it's a small group, whether it's your family, whether it's leading yourself or where you work or a business that you own, first is you need to always go back to what are your goals, what are your intentions, what is the vision that you have for your organization. You have to be grounded in things that will stand the test of time. Things that will stand the test of, regardless of who the President of the United States, who the head of the United Nations is, who's the mayor of your town, whether this happens or that happens, whether your children are small or grown. Those things are the stability, and you need to be grounded. And make sure in all of your running around that you do not become a hysterical voice, but that you are grounded in your goals, your vision, who you are, your faith. The other thing that you will be tested on in these kinds of times, and what will keep you grounded, is to have courage. It's not to ignore the reality of what's happening. And it doesn't mean that you won't sequester yourself away for some time and kind of think your way through, because anxiety is the order of the day. But you have to make the courageous decisions. If this is the direction we're going, regardless of what is happening, it doesn't mean that we can't stop or pause to kind of cycle through some of the things that are happening. But if these goals that you have are the way that you are supposed to be, then, and the determined way you have decided to go, then make some courageous decisions. And no more courageous decisions will you make than remaining grounded and level-headed in times of crisis. Also, as you think of the volatility and the uncertainty and the complexity and the ambiguities of life, the other thing is it's also a very great time to adapt. We all had to adapt when we went through, as we were going through the pandemic. We were doing things that we never really imagined that we would do. And besides all the things that the human experience tends to focus on, the negative of it, there have been some positive. You've gotten to spend some time with some significant others. Being adaptable means perhaps we haven't changed our goals or our vision, but we see other ways in which to get there. You have to always know, as the leader, what are the non-negotiables? What are the things that I will not change? And everything else, if we find and discover better ways, we make those changes. One of the things we do need for leaders is not one who is rigid in methodologies, but is open and adaptive. I think as you're going through these times and you're seeking how to be grounded, one of those is it's a marvelous time for a leader to remain humble. Go ahead and confess it. You don't know. You don't have the answers to all of this. That together we will find it. If you're a person of faith, humility starts with an attitude of gratitude and praying. But make sure that you conduct yourself as not the one who has all of the answers. Respect the input of others. Seek the input for others. I think another way to stay grounded is this is a marvelous time. There would be no better time than what you're going through right now than to develop your empathetic muscles or your empathy muscles. Not only are we just to be conscious of what's happening in our own lives or an organization or an entity that we're leading, are you being conscious of what's happening in the people that you are leading? Do you, if you have children at home, do you understand the angst that your children are going through? And can you begin showing empathy toward them? How about your neighbors? How about the school teachers? How about the police officers? How about the minorities in your community? How about the people who feel that they have suffered and don't just feel that they've suffered, have suffered because of racial inequality? It's wonderful for us to develop empathetic attitudes and spirits and to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. Think about the people at work. They're wondering, are we going to have a job? Are we going to make it? It's time for you to acknowledge that there's suffering and pain. Stay grounded, keep doing what you're doing, but acknowledge it and reach out and seek to help people. When we're going through these kinds of times of upheaval, one thing you have to do is you have to keep learning. A lot of great knowledge and experience as leader has brought you to the place where you are today. Do not think that the future is going to look exactly like the past. Remain with a spirit and mindset of curiosity. Ask questions to people, not just questions for question's sake, but with the idea that I truly want to learn. What do you need to learn? Read, grow, stretch. Do the things that are very important, that are desperately, desperately needed today. People need a leader who is quick to be curious, to say, let's learn this together. We may not now know today, we don't know, but we're going to learn. I think we are at a crucial moment. And it doesn't matter when you're listening to this podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, I guarantee you all of us are going through crucial moments. Don't get overwhelmed. Be fully present. Do all your crying, do all your complaining behind closed doors. Get yourself grounded. Read. If you're a spiritual person, pray, meditate, and don't let it overwhelm you. And be a calm, reassuring presence right in the moment. Friends, there are times when we just have to take control of our emotions. Go ahead and cry. Go ahead and complain. Go ahead and vent. Again, either do it with a very good friend or by yourself. But you need to get control of your emotions and be the steady hand at the wheel that is going to move things forward. There are a lot of things right now and always that you and I have no control over. So many. I could give a litany of things you and I have no control over. But we have control over how much effort we put in, and we have control over what kind of an attitude we're going to take. Why this is important for all of us is apparent, but why it is vitally important for a leader is the fact that your attitude, your spirit will come down through the entire organization. Therefore, control your emotions. Make sure you boost your self-confidence right now. And if that means listening to podcasts, reading books, praying, meditating, right now we all have doubts about certain things. But what we need is a confident leader, not a braggadocious, not one who is just bulldozing their way through without paying any attention to the realities of life, but someone who is confident is important. I think one of the best things you can do when we're in these uncertain times to stay grounded is to purposely, intentionally reach out to encourage others. During this pandemic, I have made an attempt that each day, either by telephone, by an email, or by a text, I reach out and encourage people. And I have a methodology, and they come from all areas and walks of my life. People I've known in the past and don't have very much contact with today. People that are right there, who are in my sphere of influence, family, colleagues, friends. Reach out and just encourage them. Right now, encouragement seems to be magnified because it's so important. I always try to take time at the end of the day to reflect on the day, but if that was ever needed, it is really needed now. Reflect on what's happening. Reflect on maybe some areas where you need to improve. Reflect on areas where you can make a difference and how you can be a help. Now, when you're going through a time of crisis and you are attempting to stay as the grounded leader, one thing you're going to have to do is to learn to say no. Right now, you need to focus on the basics. Faith, family, friends, your business, your vocation. And this is probably not the time to begin taking on new assignments and other things. I know for many of us, it's very difficult to say no. But right now, you probably do not need to be adding more things to your plate. You need to be focusing on the matters at hand and showing up every day at your best, doing your best. I think one of the ways to stay grounded is to make sure you're taking care of your health, that you're eating properly, that you're exercising. I have found that whatever it is that exercise does for my body, and it does a lot of things, it really helps my emotions, especially when I'm going through exceedingly stressful times. So, you can't let these worries stress you to the point that it makes you ill. Then you'll be of not only no good to yourself, but you won't be a help to the many people who are counting on you. I think when you're in a crisis time and where it's easy to not stay grounded, this is a time you need to pick some routines and really stick with them. I don't mean that's all that you do, but I think your routines, which become habits, which help propel you forward, if they are ever needed, they are needed in uncertain times because you know what you need to do and you need to do it. Now, I know we can always do better, but this is not a podcast today about doing better. This is a podcast about staying grounded, covering the essentials, and moving forward. I also think it would be wise if when you're going through all of this, you tell people, hey, if I was wrong, I made the right mistake. Most things are not irrevocable. Let's change. Let's put the reverse gear in, and let's keep moving. One of these days, we'll be able to do an audit of all that has been transpiring, and we will see what it is that we have truly learned. I believe that this year and all that we've gone through will be a wonderful learning experience, and it is a wonderful leadership lab that will propel us into the future. My leader, we are counting on you, my leadership friend. Please stay grounded, and we need you, and we need your word and your story for this world and for this day and age. My friends, you've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, and productivity. I hope today this was like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Remember, my leadership friend, even in the midst of what's going on today, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.